just to make it more durable. Its only job was to make it to the surface in one piece and send back a signal. Any signal, to prove it had survived.
And on December 15, 1970, it did it. It made it. It survived for 23 precious minutes, and that was just long enough to send back its first shocking piece of data. The temperature on the surface was 465 degrees Celsius. Think about that for a second. That's more than twice as hot as your home oven on its absolute highest setting. It's hot enough to melt lead, instantly.
But the heat? Well, that was only half the story. The atmospheric pressure was an unbelievable 90 times greater than it is here on Earth. See, Venus has this runaway greenhouse effect. Its atmosphere is incredibly thick, mostly carbon dioxide. All that gas weighs a ton, creating a pressure that's the same as being 1 kilometer deep in the ocean. That's why the earlier probes were being crushed like empty soda cans.
And Venus had one more nasty surprise waiting for them. As the probe was descending, scientists noticed its radio signal was shifting a little bit, the Doppler effect. That meant something was pushing it sideways with incredible force. When they did the math, they realized the probe was being battered by constant 360 km/h winds, a permanent planet-wide hurricane.
Okay, so they had finally survived this hell. They knew what they were up against. So what did the Soviets do? They got even more ambitious. The next generation of Venera probes were designed not just to endure this world, but to open their eyes and their ears to it.
And these new landers, they were engineering marvels. They had this cool flying saucer-shaped shell to protect all the sensitive electronics, a massive aerobrake to slow the descent, and a crush ring on the bottom to absorb the impact of landing. And most important of all, for the very first time, they had cameras.
But then, disaster struck, and in the most frustrating way you can possibly imagine. After surviving the heat, the pressure, the fall, on 4 consecutive missions, a tiny, simple little part failed: the lens caps. On Venera 9 and 10, only one of the 2 caps popped open. And on Venera 11 and 12, both of them stayed stubbornly shut, blinding the probes completely.
But on October 22, 1975, Venera 9's single working camera did its job. And for the very first time, humanity saw the surface of another planet. And there were no jungles, no oceans, just a desolate, alien landscape of sharp, cracked volcanic rock, all lit up by a gloomy orange sky.
The program really hit its peak, though, with Venera 13. This mission was an absolute treasure trove of firsts. It actually carried a microphone that recorded the sound of wind and maybe some distant thunder on Venus. It took the first color photos, confirming the planet's brownish surface and that eerie orange sky. It even had a seismometer that suggested